Welcome to Forum 360 with a global outlook and a local view. My name is Ardith Keck, and our topic for this show is Social Security. Where does the money come from to pay Social Security? Is Social Security going to go away? What is Social Security? My guest is Robert Fenn, who is a public affairs specialist for Social Security. We have a lot to ask him. Welcome, Robert.
Well, thank you for having me.
Please explain what Social Security is.
Well, Social Security is our nation's retirement program. Social Security started August 14th, 1935 by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It allows individuals to have money set aside for their retirement in their retirement years. At this time, when an individual works, 6.2% of what we call the FICA tax is held from their pay, so that way it can go to their retirement fund. 1.45 of that also goes to Medicare. So a total between those two, you have the 7.65% goes toward their retirement and their Medicare. Your employer also matches that. So therefore, the numbers together are 15.3%. So Social Security is a way of individuals working and having a retirement, if you nest egg, so when they reach the retirement age, that way they can have something in order to carry them through their retirement years.
Sounds like a good program. How do you get information about Social Security that you might need?
Yes, well, one of the ways any individual can go to our website, socialsecurity.gov, and I must emphasize that gov, G-O-V. There are other sources. If we go to the internet, we'll find a plethora of links saying Social Security may be in the wording there, but the official website and the official source is socialsecurity.gov. They can go to our website. There's a lot of information on retirement benefits, Medicare benefits, disability benefits, anything in terms of pending or changes, or if someone wanted to know, how do I get a Social Security card? Can I get a Social Security card in this state? There are certain states in which you can get a Social Security card online. So all of our information, if they're looking for some basic nuggets and question and answers, they're also listed on our website. Individual can, if they wish. I do presentations. My area of coverage is Stark, Summit, Wayne, Medina, Mahoning, Trumbull, Ashland, and Richland counties.
Just a little bit.
So
Okay.
I go around. So my point is that if you're hearing someone speaking about Social Security, it's myself. And any event that I do is always free. So that's another way. The third option, of course, anyone can come into the tried and true, our local offices, depending on where you live. And so here in Summit County, they can go to the two offices here in Akron. One's downtown, and the other one is near Rolling Acres Mall location.
Okay. Is there a phone number for those people who may not be computer literate?
Yes, and any individual can contact our teleservice, which is 1-800-772-1213. I repeat, 1-800-772-1213. And I should emphasize this, that is a national number. Sometimes people call and say, can I speak to the president, the head of sales? No, that's not where that number is going to lead you to. It's a teleservice. And so we have a variety of teleservices throughout the nation. So they can speak to someone and then hang up the phone and then call, and they'll speak to someone in another area. But the database itself, if you will, it's a federal program, so they'll still see the same information from your last conversation.
Okay. And what is the retirement age to get benefits?
Yes. Now, for retirement benefits, I like how you pointed that out. The retirement age, earliest age, is age 62. The retirement age has changed since 2000, meaning your full retirement age is based upon what your year of birth is. For those of us who were born between the years of 1943 to 1954, a person's born between 1943 to 1954, that person's full retirement age is age 66. Full retirement age means, when can I get 100% of what I'm eligible for? Now, every year after 1954, the full retirement age increases by 2 months. So if I was born in 1955, it's 66 in 2 months. 1956, 66 in 4 months. It continues to add those 2 months increments all the way to 1960. Anyone born 1960 or later his or her full retirement age will be age 67. Now, what happens is when people hear me say those age differences and they hear, oh, it's increasing, what have you, then that makes them think, oh, well, that means I have to wait until 67 or 66 and 10 months, whatever it may be. Any individual can file early as age 62, as long as they have the proper amount of work earnings, 10 years on average, at least 10 years of average work, they are still eligible to file at age 62 for their retirement benefits.
But you don't get as much money at age 62, is that
Absolutely
correct?
correct. Yeah, so in my example, someone born in 1954, 66 would be their full retirement age. 66 will allow them to receive 100%. So I'll make up a number just for our conversation and for our viewers, $1,000 at age 66. If they decide to file for their benefits at age 62, there is a 25% reduction. So that would mean I would get 75%. 75%, $750. So if I receive it at age 62, I will receive that $750 payment. That $750 payment continues for life. The only way that payment will increase in a normal way would be the cost of living adjustment, okay, other than if someone were to continue to work, which we can discuss that as well. But normally that payment would stay $750 unless there's a cost of living adjustment. And then on average, Social Security has had a cost of living adjustment except for 3 years since 1974. So it's a good chance that it will.
As a spouse, have there been changes for filing as a spouse?
Oh, great question. The answer is yes. Let me make sure I give a little backdrop so that way we can explain what we're talking about it today. Prior to November 2015, there was a bipartisan act that stated, excuse me, that we would allow an individual prior to that time frame. You could have one person working, the other person is the spouse. That individual, as a spouse, if both people were at least age 66, just in my example, both individuals are age 66, and I'll just use myself and my wife as an example. I'm 66, I start my Social Security benefits, and then I decide to file the benefit and suspend it. That means we put something on the Social Security record, on the computer, if you will, to say now allow my wife to file for her benefits as a spouse only. That is what we call a restricted application. That means even though she may have worked herself, she's saying, I am electing to receive monies just on my husband's record and not take the benefits that I have worked for. That's because we're both for retirement age, all right? And so if my check would have been $1,000, her benefit at her full retirement age would be half, $500. So my wife would receive her $500, and then at a later age, she could wish to make a switch to the monies that she had declined to receive. Now the new law states that no matter what my wife's age is, 66, 67, doesn't matter. Social Security now has to look at her earnings before Social Security looks to pay her any monies from my record. So my first example was $500 from my record, and let's say she was due $1,300 on her own. Social Security will say, all right, you have monies coming to you, we have to pay you that first. If her money is more than half of what mine monies are, she's not eligible for any benefits off my record. So my point is, what I want the viewers to understand is that there was a time my wife could come to Social Security and we wouldn't even be concerned with her money that she had coming to her if she was at least 66. Now, whatever age she comes to us, we're going to review her record, her earnings, and pay her that first to see if we can maybe make up the difference up to half of what I'm receiving.
It's pretty complicated, but that's why they go to socialsecurity.gov.
That's right.
Can you work and get Social Security?
Yes. I'm glad you asked that question as well. An individual can work and still receive Social Security benefits. It's how much of the earnings that determine how many payments we can send them throughout the year. Okay. Now, this is just my sense of humor, my personality, if you will, because in my mind, people assume that because they were working full-time and now they're working part-time, they think that's retirement. And Social Security's mindset is retirement means I am done working, I'm tired of seeing these people. I am going to retire. Not for everyone. So some people, again, full-time to part-time. So Social Security has a dollar amount. We call them an annual earnings test, sometimes a monthly earnings test. And what that means is we will ask the question, are you or are you not working when you file for your Social Security retirement benefits? So it all depends. So let's say if a person is working, then we're going to ask for that salary. Their salary, again, we will subtract it from a certain dollar amount. This year in 2019, if they're less than their full retirement age, that amount will be $17,640. $17,640. And we see how much monies they are over that amount. And that lets us know, again, how many months throughout the year we can pay them. Once they reach their full retirement age, if they're turning 66 that same year, they're allowed to make this year $46,920 before Social Security is even concerned. Then once they're over their full retirement age, in my example, 66, doesn't matter how much they make. They make $1 million a month, has no effect at all on the Social Security benefits. They're just obligated to contact me because I should be their new friend. That's all.
Will a Social Security check increase if a person continues to work?
A Social Security check can increase if the monies that they're making will allow us to. So let me explain what does allow mean. Social Security uses an individual's top 35 years over the lifetime. A moment ago, I just mentioned 10 years. 10 years is what makes the individual eligible to start receiving their retirement benefits at least at age 62. However, Social Security is going to use the top 35 years. So example for our viewers, if a person had made $20,000 every year for 35 years, then they retired, started receiving a Social Security payment, that payment is based upon those $20,000 years. Then if they decided to go back to work and they started making $30,000, $30,000 a year is higher than the ones we use to figure out their payment. So yes, that would increase their Social Security payment. Conversely, they've made $20,000 every year for 35 years, retired, started getting a Social Security benefit, and started working and made $15,000. $15,000 is lower than the $20,000, so it does not go into the calculation. Because if we take the $15,000 years, it would lower the average amount they made each year. So the real world people say, well, I'm still working. So they're thinking they're paying that 7.6%. They're like, okay, yeah, since I'm paying into it, that must mean it's going to increase. Not so. Only if the money is more after receiving Social Security than it was before.
How do you get a Social Security card replacement?
Yes. One of the top 3 reasons why individuals will visit our Social Security offices is to get a Social Security card replaced. And one of the reasons that we have found that they do, not only do they may have lost the card, but the BMV, certain BMVs, since they're franchised out, they have a ability to look at what Social Security has for a person's name. And so let's say those names don't match, or if a person has laminated a Social Security card, we encourage people not to do so. If you look on the back of most Social Security cards, it says do not laminate. But if a place wants to verify that Social Security card, they may not be able to accept it because it's laminated. It's equivalent to like laminating a $10 bill you take it to a local store. They're not going to want to accept that. So a person can go to our local office with their driver's license, show that driver's license to the Social Security reps there, and then we will reissue that Social Security card. Same number, no issue there. If a person is married and maybe there's a name change, they were required to bring their driver's license along with their marriage certificate, or if divorced. We will ask for the divorce decree of that, or if it's just a legal name change. Now, the thing is, we have, I think we're up to just about 75% of the United States, of the states who have the opportunity and the ability to go online by going to our website, socialsecurity.gov. You will see, just scroll down on our homepage, the word my is in red lettering, mysocialsecurity.gov. The individual can open up their own account, and this will allow them, they'll have to answer a series of questions. That way, then they can go to file for their own Social Security card and get that online. Now, it won't allow individuals to change their name, but if your name is just, Joe Jackson, Mary Smith, whatever it may be, no name change, it'll allow you to have your card replaced by going online through our My Social Security portal. Great option.
All right. We can do that in Ohio?
Not yet.
Oh.
Yeah, now I do know that Michigan is doing it and Pennsylvania is doing it. So if those two states can do it, and here in Ohio, we believe it's going to happen soon for us too.
I hope so. That would be great.
Yes.
I'm Ardith Keck, and we're talking about Social Security on Forum 360. And my guest is Robert Fenn, who is the Public Affairs Specialist for the Social Security Administration. And can you change your Social Security number?
Can you change your Social Security number? An individual can change their Social Security number depending on the reason. Now, that reason has to be documented. That reason has to be something, I would say, very serious. An individual cannot change their Social Security number just because of bankruptcy, they've been incarcerated, or they just don't like the number. An individual cannot. Let me give you a classic example of a reason why Social Security may look into changing a number. Two people, same thing. One individual goes to the BMV and they have to get their license renewed. And in that case there, if they find out there's some type of discrepancy, someone else was using a number or something like that, okay, going to the BMV, that is a normal procedure, right? And then once we have documentation of how someone's using their number, or they lost their number, or if there's some type of issue, and there's documentation of that, and it's hindering their daily life, that individual may have just cause in order to request that we do change the number. Opposite, an individual has ran a stop sign. A police person has pulled them over. They have ran that number and they said there may be some type of discrepancy here. That individual may say, oh, that's not my number, something's going on, I want to change that number. However, if they had never have broken the law, running that stop sign, they never would have known, which means that it never interfered with their daily activities, their daily lifestyle. So in that case here, we may not change that number, okay? We may make a note of that, if you will, but so it all depends on what took place. Again, what we say is we would want an individual to document, give us the information, the proof, if you will, of how this is interfering with your daily life. Filing taxes, those are normal things. I mentioned the BMV, that's normal, you know, but if it's something that they have done, it may not be, again, justified reason for us to make the change.
Do you pay income tax on Social Security when you receive your payment?
The Social Security check itself, of course, no Social Security taxes are taken out. However, IRS does have guidelines, which I encourage everyone to go to irs.gov to get the full gist of everything. But an individual may have to pay Social Security taxes if their income, again, I said as an individual, is between the total income, $25,000 to $33,000. Then they can tax up to 50%. And if they go over that $33,000 to $44,000, they can possibly receive 85% of their total income in terms of Social Security. Now, if they're married, then they're looking at those numbers at $33,000 to $44,000, up to 50%. Over the $44,000 as a couple, up to 85%. Does not mean that they're going to. I'm just stating that when a person files their taxes, if they're going to a service or if they're doing it themselves, and then they're or between that $25,000 and that $44,000 that I mentioned, IRS may say when they file the taxes, are you receiving any type of Social Security benefits? The person will answer yes. They will ask how much. Then they'll look at their total income, and then there's a little math that they use, and then they'll count up to half of that. What they'll say is countable income from Social Security. Half of what they received may be taxed up in those percentages that I mentioned. So I refer everyone back to IRS because it's not something they're going to get from Robert. Okay.
Okay. And if people are paying into Social Security during their working years, and then it's paid out at retirement, how is Social Security going broke?
Yes. Well, I will say this. That phrase, going broke, is it going to be there? That's where that conversation stems from. And in my mind, I relate it to when you're 5 years old, crayons, kindergarten is important. 16 years old, getting your driver's license, that's important. 21, legal age, maybe have a party or whatever you call that. serving our country. When it becomes time for you to do a certain activity, then it becomes more relevant, meaning more individuals are becoming retirement age. So therefore, whether or not Social Security is going to be there is a common question. Is Social Security going to be there? I'll explain to you, what they're referring to when they say, is it or is it not going to be there? What you're hearing now, what's been stated, you can look at our website, socialsecurity.gov. We have the trustees report on our website. You can click on that link there and you will see what they're saying. They're projecting in 2034 that Social Security will then no longer have those interests in terms of income. What does that mean? Every year, Social Security, between now all the way up to 2034, Social Security takes in interest and principal. If the thing that they're looking at, the interest and what have you, if that continues to dwindle down by 2034, the interest has gone down, but the principal is still there. Social Security takes in, I think the number was over $900 billion last year. Paid out $900 billion, but there's still that little increase there. So if there aren't any changes with Social Security, the full retirement age, top 35 years, the percentage, the tax percentage, how much of your earnings are taxed. If those changes are not made, then come 2034, then around 78% of Social Security benefits are still payable. If there aren't any changes in 2034, those monies still then are paid out to 2094. How is that? Because Social Security is a pay-as-you-go system. So the easiest way that I like to explain it to our viewers, if you have a bank account and you were able to make a deposit, and if you were able to live off just the interest, I know that's not possible, but if you were able to live off just the interest, your deposit is still there. That's what's taking place in terms of Social Security, is that they're saying that the interest is what's dwindling down. This same conversation that we're having took place in 1979 and 1983. Because we were not worried about it then, as younger individuals, as minors, or whatever it may be, same conversation took place. Congress took an action, and I think that if you look back in history, 2 months before they were worried about the sky falling, and then it was projected even further. Do I think Social Security is going to be there? Yes. That's why I started with the date, August 14th, 1935. We're going to be celebrating our 85th year next year. So yes, Social Security is going to be there. Again, rest assured, because we're looking at the fact that Social Security is our national program, been there this long. Yes, I'm very comfortable with that. It's just we needed to find out what Congress likes to do, in terms of how they're going to figure out the math, and then we'll go from there.
Okay,
Yes.
that makes me happy.
Yes.
If you receive Social Security only as a spouse and your spouse dies, do you lose your Social Security?
So if you are receiving Social Security benefits on your own, and if your spouse was receiving a Social Security benefit, their record, if it was separate, and that's the first part, then Social Security is going to look to see, can you receive a higher benefit, the one that you're receiving now, or as a widow or widower? Whatever one is higher, yes, we can look to pay that. If the spouse passes away, so let's say, just all Social Security policies are gender neutral, so make sure that viewers understand that. But let's say the husband passed away, the wife will continue to receive a widow's benefit. His check does stop because we're going to pay her the higher benefit between the two. Only one payment will continue. Okay, I'm going to stop right there to make sure you're able to digest all of that part there. Okay?
I got it.
Okay. Now, the thing is I want to make sure people know is that if, let's say, the husband worked, the wife had not worked as much as he did. So her check is based upon his earnings. If the gentleman passes away when she is at least her full retirement age, we know at Social Security her name is listed on his record. Once we get notification from the funeral home or the family members in a variety of ways, once we get that information, it may allow our system to automatically make this switch for the higher benefit. Opposite, she has worked and her money is separated from his. Meaning when I type in her Social Security number, I only see her information, and I type in his Social Security number, I only see his. In that case, we do want the surviving spouse to contact us so we can see if the money should be hire on her own or onto the husband's record.
Whew.
Yes. Yes.
What's the most searched item on the Social Security website?
Well, it was funny to me. I thought that everyone wanted to talk to us, Social Security, about retirement benefits we have. We do. We have frequently asked questions. That's listed there. It's a lot of retirement. But the biggest surge that we saw a couple months ago, because April we celebrated National Social Security Month, was baby names. Baby names. Yeah. Baby names. You believe that? Because Social Security, we have been collecting names over the past 100 years. Ms. Keck, you can go to our website, you can type in the year that you're born, and let's say you were born in California. You can type in your name, state of California, and you can see where your name ranked out of all of the names in California.
We have learned a lot. Thank you, Robert Fenn. It's been a really exciting program, and I think our audience is going to be much better informed
I hope so.
about Social Security. Thank you. This is Ardith Keck for Forum 360.
Forum 360 is brought to you by John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, the Akron Community Foundation, Hudson Community Television, the Rubber City Radio Group, Shaw Jewish Community Center of Akron, Blue Green, Electric Impulse Communications, and Forum 360 supporters.